Hi guys, Squall here. Welcome to another Trucking Diaries US. As I just open my windows casually, because I'm on an American Truck Simulator 1.37, which, let's face it, since I last played American Trucking Diaries, a lot has changed in this game. Do you know how long it is since I did an episode of this series? I was actually shocked. I was genuinely shocked. Freight train coming through. So I thought, you know what? Let's pick this back up again. Let's do some more Trucking Diaries. I'll do some of the ETS as well. 137 is going to drop on that soon enough, so I'll do some of that. But for now, I thought we'd take a journey. I've got a job lined up. I think it's a 17-ton harvester. And we're going to haul it eastbound. Because, yeah, another thing that's changed quite a bit is the sheer amount of map that we can now drive on this thing. Lights are working fine. Brakes are off. Mirrors are good. Now, just to refresh yourselves on where we got up to with this thing. Oh, that engine sounds good, doesn't it, eh? These new F-mod sounds a real game changer. We have a bank loan to pay off. It's well over 200 grand, I think it is. So quite a substantial bank loan. Alright, let's just take a moment here to get myself back into the swing of this. So we've got like, what, 100 odd grand in the bank? And I've got to pay off 200,000. We've got a few drivers, we've got a few trucks. So it's just a matter of doing the grind. Now I think this job, if it pays off nicely, should net about 14 grand. But it is about a 600 mile drive eastbound. So we've got a lot of journey ahead of us. Plenty to talk about. And it's quite early in the morning, so... I'll tell you what. The AI... I'm not joking, the AI is getting... Like, every release of this game, the AI gets more and more crazy. Now, most of Jazzy Cat's mods aren't converted to 137 yet, so the only one I've actually got running at the moment is the AI traffic, which he has migrated to 137. So unfortunately, I'm missing a lot of trailers and stuff that I would normally want to have, but that's fine. Let's check how many gears this truck's got on it. Because I'm in 8 high there and I'm only in doing 35. I might have an 18 speed. I need to go and check the controls 1 second. We'll pull in and check that now. I think we're going in here anyway. This is where the harvester is. Looks like we're going to be in for a clear day. Sunshine wise.
Alright.
There we go. So, freight market, and we're going to be taking, we're out of Oxnard, which is where we finished in the last video so many moons ago, and we're going to head out eastbound to Holbrook, the 16-ton harvester. So let's click on that, take that job, and while we're here, I'm just going to check the controls and make sure that I'm 13 speed, so our truck is... Gearbox, Eaton Fuller, 18 speed. Yeah, I thought so. Which is why I don't have all the gears that I should. So I'll do that. That should sort that out. 3, 6, 7, 8. There we go. It does mean that I have to get used to slightly different gear ratios to what I was just driving. Right, where's this trailer then? There it is. So I've got, obviously I've still got the Kenny. This is the truck that we was doing it in, and I've kept the Score Logistics livery. Now, The Square Logistics livery doesn't look like this anymore. I don't use that font anymore, but I thought I'd leave it because it kind of looks retro and classic. Because it basically is. It's like an old livery now. So I thought I'd leave it. Let's try and line this up. Okay, attach the trailer. Let's have a quick look at it. It's quite big, isn't it? Oversize. Unfortunately, I don't have any beacons on top, so I've got nothing to do light-wise. Okay, I try to remember how much horsepower. I should have looked in how many horses this thing's got on the bonnet. I can't remember what we upgraded it to all those moons ago. Don't think this axle is a steering trailer either by the look of it. It's not cornering like a steering axle. So that's going to make it fun. Yeah, that doesn't look like an axle. That looks like we're going to have to take a wide berth. Come on, dude. There we go. Don't think we're gonna make this. Ooh, keep going, keep going, keep going. We made it. Whew. I like driving with the windows open. We're back in 5th gear. So quite a bit has changed since I last did Trucking Diaries. What I've had to do is go through my mods and remove a few things. I put Hemmel's route advisor in, which is why my sat-nav's at the bottom of the screen there. I prefer Hemmel's route advisor to the default layout. Just a personal preference, I've just got used to it. I remember trying it out quite a while ago, and I've just grown accustomed to the more compact layout. I like having that little taskbar down there. In all honesty, I really wish that they'd allow us to move the UI around a bit, just so I can put things where I actually want them. I think that would be a really nice change for the game. But Hemmel's route advisor at least allows us to do it via a mod, although we don't get any options. Some of the things like the W900 gear indicator, that's like a 2016 mod, that's not been updated I don't think, so I've had to get rid of that. Oh, why are you moving over? Oh, I don't even know if I can overtake. The revs are coming down. I'm not really sure why. Oh, he moved over because it was a right-hand turn that way. Fair enough. I am really annoying everybody behind us right now. Come on! Come on! We got this! Right, let's get over there before I really annoy all the drivers behind me right now. Come on, bro, let me over. Just because you got beat, got me sulking. I think we probably need to stay in this lane. Right, now how's the fuel situation? Half a tank. Let's get into cruise control now. Let's bring up the information like that. Speed, cruise control. There we go. Nice. Okay, settle into some highway driving. So yeah, I mean, 137's come out. Some of the new things that are in the game. Ownable food tank trailers, that's the main one. I haven't tried them out yet, but basically you can buy your own food tank trailers. That may be something that I want to do with Trucking Diaries. Remember, back in the day, like when I started this series, the idea of ownable trailers just didn't exist. That was not even a thing, so that's an option. In theory, we could buy ownable trailers for all the drivers, but I kind of feel like that's a stupid move. I suspect the problem is when you get an ownable trailer, it kind of reduces the number of potential jobs you can do. And for an automated AI driver that's picking its own jobs, that's just a really bad idea. So I think we'll stay clear for the AI drivers on our fleet. But I think for us, potentially, we could get an ownable trailer. Would we want to get a food one though? I don't know. Something to think about. The big change 137 is obviously the F-mod sounds like. It's just completely different. The sound engine now. You get the whole Doppler effect, things driving past you. The sounds in the cab sound different. You can hear it when you sort of, you know, open and close windows, which is a new thing. But, you know, the acoustics completely changed, don't they? As they would in real life. There's a whole bunch more audio options. So when you first start the game, when you first start the game, you suddenly notice the in-game music's really loud again. It's because they've reset everything. So you just have to go through once and sort your audio settings back, but it's easily done. Speed limit is 55, okay. Let's get a wiggle on. There we go. But yeah, you've got the windows now, which obviously is a thing. They've got the new steering wheel DLC. I've basically added, I spent $200 to repair the truck. It had a little bit of damage from the end of the last video, and I've also upgraded. I've put like a walnut effect wheel on here. Now the inside of the cab is not a walnut effect, but I want to get that one. I just don't want to spend the money on it yet. I'd rather pay the bank loan off. But it was only $200 for the wheel, where it's a lot more expensive for the actual interior walnut. But then it'll go together nicely. So the wheel looks a little bit out of place right now, but in the future it won't. Please don't pull out. Thank you. City limit, LA. I do like driving these Kennys. They're such a nice truck to drive. So yeah, and then the other big thing, I guess, is that, you know, the fact that you can get out of your truck now in the garage. Like, you can't get out of your truck full stop in the map, and I honestly don't think they will ever add that into the game. I don't think you'll ever be able to get out of your truck in this game, apart from in the garage. But at least you can do it in the garage, and you can kind of walk around your truck. And it gives you like another perspective, I guess. You're a lot more lower down. You can get into your truck a little bit better than you can with the external camera. So when you're configuring your truck now, you can walk around it, which feels, you know, a lot better. I mean, I guess the next step from that is allow you to walk around the garage a bit more. But baby steps, I guess. It's a little something. It's a easy win, I guess. So I'm quite happy to have that in the game. Looks like we're getting back onto a different highway here. That is a big old trailer. Just about got enough room to get around these corners. You can see that it's even crossing the yellow line, and I took quite a wide swing then. So if you've not tried that, if you've not been to the garage and tried configuring your truck, it's definitely worth doing. And then of course we've got, you know, future DLC coming for the game for American Truck Sim. If you actually look at the drivable map space now in ATS, you know, compared to what it used to be when I was making Trucking Diaries, it is so much better now. There's so much more space you can drive in, and there's another map coming, so that's only going to get better. But that seems to be, I guess, where they are with this game now. They're kind of stuck in this circular pattern of their own making, aren't they? The only thing that they really do to the game is expand some of the functionality. Like DirectX 11 was obviously quite a big change. F-mod is quite a big change. So they're incrementally improving the game engine. But primarily the map DLC and the occasional, well, the trucks are always free, but the maps are always charged for, so they're making money via purchases of the game, I guess. And, you know, particularly what's going on in the world right now with this virus situation, you've got more people at home, so they've now got this truck and get home. So the potential income is from new people to the game, but mostly people like me and you, who've played the game for a long time. Map DLC is the way they get their money. And they're doing remarkably well out of it. It must be. They must be doing remarkably well out of it because the team has grown massively over the years. But equally you think to yourself, well, where does it all end? Like, are they going to make an ETS 3 or an ATS 2? Are they going to join the two games together and make just a general truck simulator? Like, what is the big goal here? Or is it just going to be years of map DLCs and incremental game engine improvements? Because one of the things, you know, I was talking about on my stream the other day, in particular, that I would like is a complete refresh of the job market. And it's not something that I see happening, because it would break everybody's save game. You know, if they completely redid the job market, everybody's economy would change. You know, you'd have to start a new profile really to make it sensible. Like, how much money have I got? 100,000. On my main ETS2, I've got 1.2 billion. Something crazy like that. So they kind of built a trap. They can't improve the game. They can make improvements to the game, but nothing that's going to break your save game, really. Let's put it that way. And then an economy change would break the save game. So, yeah. And the economy is where I think it is some of the biggest changes. Like, the whole job market and the whole multi-drop thing, which has been talked about so much, but hasn't seen the light of day yet. It does make you wonder how it's all going to work. New thing they've added in 137, progressive fines. Now, back in the early days, I was terrified of getting a fine. Like, this game, when you start a new profile in this game, back then, if you went through a red light, and if you got seen by a copper going through a red light, the fine was just astronomical. It was literally the same amount as your entire job profit. Now, they've got this incremental fine thing, so it depends how much you break the speed limit by. If you only break it by a couple of miles an hour, the fine might only be like $100, $200. So I think that's a really welcome change. So I'm glad they've added that. It's interesting because I don't know how it works in the US, whether they actually do that in real life. They do it in Germany. Germany definitely has incremental fines, but the UK doesn't. So I do wonder how that lines up with... Hang on. I do wonder with how that lines up with how it works in America. I thought I had an engine retarder. The cruise control's not actually slowing me down. Interesting. Need to check the config on the truck. So progressive fines are a nice thing. If you're starting this game now, like, let's say you've been locked up by the virus situation, you think, oh, I'll try another game, I'll try American Truck Sim. You fire this thing up and you're like, blimey, there's quite a lot of states I can drive around, there's quite a lot of trucks I've got. But also what you don't know is the fine system is different now, and the repair system is completely different. You don't get hammered with fines anymore in the early days that completely cripple you, so that's definitely a welcome change overall for new players, because if you've been playing it for years, you'll remember how hard it can be at the start. Now, am I supposed to be in the right lane or the left lane, or I don't know. Bakersfield West exit only, right, this one. Inspections, that's another thing they've added. Inspections. I don't know if we'll get pulled into a weigh station, but if we was to haul like doubles and triples in states that don't allow them, and you get pulled in for an inspection, you get a fine. which is interesting, because I need to test that. I don't know how you can set yourself up for an illegal trailer configuration. Is it when you take a job? When you take a job, every job at the job market is going to offer you a legal job, I would have thought. So when you actually go into the job market and say, I want that job, you can change the trailer at that point. I'm guessing if you change the trailer to like a double, triple combo or something that's not allowed in that state, or a state that you pass through, don't forget. My guess is that you line yourself up for a fine on inspection. But does that work with a risk-reward scenario? If you was to change your trailer to a triple and then go through a state that's not allowed, are you going to get more money for the job because you're hauling more goods than the original job allowed? I don't know. I'm all for the whole risk-reward thing. I really am. Like, I would love to see it. I would love to see the idea of, you know, the contract, the guy who gives you the contract saying, hey, you know, you could try taking 2 trailers worth and you get an extra $15,000. But bearing in mind, you know, you're driving it through a state that doesn't allow. What do you think? And then you make a decision. You say, yes, I'll take that. I'll take that risk. I know I might get a fine, but I think it's worth it. That would be cool. That would make the whole gameplay a lot more fun. I know people have mentioned in the past about, oh, it'd be great if you could have drugs and stuff and do drug runs or smuggle guns and things like this. Let's face it, there is no way SCS is going to put that in the game. Not going to happen. However, they could sort of do the same gameplay but without saying what it is. So they can say, hey, how about, you know, some guy approaches you when you're taking the contract and he says, hey, will you take this package for me? No questions asked, and I'll give you an extra 30 grand at the other end. And you're like, yeah, okay. And then if you get pulled over for whatever reason, you might police random inspection or whatever, they find this illegal package. They don't have to out and out say this is drugs. They could just say, police have seized the package, which is not legal. You've been issued with a fine of $60,000. They could do it that way. So they don't actually say it's drugs or it's guns or whatever. They just say it was an illegal thing. You took the risk and it didn't pay off. I would love to see stuff like that in the game. Whether they add it or not, different story. Let's just have a quick check on where we are here. Okay, we're out of Barstow. We have less than half a tank of fuel. I'm going to get the cruise control up to 55. We've got 458 miles left. So you might be asking yourself, what's the plan with Trucking Diaries then? Like, I think the original reason why I stopped playing ATS Trucking Diaries in particular was because I kind of, if you actually look at my map right now, you'll find that I've discovered all the cities that were in the base states. Like the states that were out when I started making this series, when the game came out, all 3 of them, you'll find that I have almost all of the cities in it, and I have none of the cities in the other states discovered, because that's when I stopped playing. And one of the reasons I stopped playing was because I just had nowhere new to go. Like, it was just the same thing. Now I feel like there's so many more places I can drive to, so I'm kind of tempted to pick this thing up and actually carry on with it. The problem as ever with these things is, you know, as I'm driving along here, to quote an American phrase, I'm shooting the breeze, which basically means I'm chatting nonsense, talking about nothing. You are sat there like a passenger in my truck, enjoying the drive. I drive and talk to myself. That's essentially what this is. The problem is coming up with interesting discussion points every time I take a journey in this game. That's the issue, because when you're on the highway like this, not a lot happens. The AI doesn't tend to do crazy stuff on a long highway journey. If you're going through cities, you might see things happen, interesting talking points, the AI gets derpy, but on a long journey like this, it tends not to happen. So I've got to come up with stuff to discuss. Oh, here we go. Oh, you can bypass the way station. Nice. Good job I don't have anything illegal. And that is part of the problem, is sometimes you can't come up with the discussion points which you need in order to run a series like this. if you're doing like a mod review or a truck review or a map review or just some kind of crazy haul, the footage kind of lends itself. If you're just doing a job like this in a series like this, you need to have something to discuss. And that is part of the reason why the series kind of, I wouldn't say it stopped, it definitely took a long hiatus though. And I will attempt to keep this going now, I think. But I have to be careful how many videos I record with it, because I won't have enough talking points, I don't think, to do it on a super regular basis. Also, there's the same with ETS, the Trucking Diaries on ETS. Now that one, if I remember, I was driving a Scania 143 mod, I think. That is going to have to change, I think, because having thought about this more with Trucking Diaries and stuff, the problem with mods is, as I'm discovering, as the game changes every few months with every release, a lot of these mod authors that built these trucks have stopped making them. Like, they've made them for a few years and then they just get bored with it. And sometimes they get picked up by a different mod author who will keep it going, convert it to the new version of the game. Other times they just die. Like with the Scania 143, I don't know if it's been updated or not. I need to go and check that. There's definitely no retardation here on the cruise control. Yeah, it doesn't slow me down. I suspect when I bought the transmission I couldn't afford the one with retarder, or maybe didn't have it unlocked. So it's something I need to watch out for. So I think it's a safer bet if I try and stick with the stock trucks for that series. It helps me to keep the series going because I don't have to worry about the mod suddenly not being supported, that kind of thing. Now, how I'm going to convert that Scania 143 to a standard, say like a next-gen Scania, which is something I would probably go for now, I don't know, because I don't think I've got the money in that profile. So that's going to be a tricky one. I might have to try and get creative on that to try and get that profile up and running. I got this profile up and running, but, you know, with a little bit of effort. A couple of the mods are, you know, fine. A few of the mods I had to get rid of, as I said, but this wasn't too difficult. With Trucking Diaries on ETS, I don't know how difficult it will be. And that's really the downside, isn't it, of using mods? Like, they're not officially supported by SCS. They are supported, but not officially supported. Like, they basically say, if you run into problems with the game and you're using mods, tough. If you're not using mods, we'll support it. But we allow mods. That's kind of the approach they take, which is fair enough. They can't possibly, you know, test everybody's mods out for them and make sure they're compatible. That's not their job. But the more mods that you add to your game, the more risk you start to take. It's like a house of cards. Every one that you add potentially creates problems for you later down the line. So that's why I'm always a bit cautious about what mods I actually put in my games, because I don't want to box myself in. I might just try putting the cruise control on 50 so that when it runs downhill and we get a bit of extra few miles an hour, we don't break the speed limit. So I think I'm going to pull in here and refuel. I'll take the opportunity. Maybe grab a coffee and a bagel, what do you think? Now this is one place I really wish I could get out of my truck. I would love to be able to get out of the truck right now and go and put the hose on the tank and fill her up and walk in the shop and pay for it. That would be awesome. But I very much doubt it's going to happen. $485. Right, check numbers coming. Looks clear. Oh, look at this. Dead ahead. Merging traffic. AI merging traffic. It is absolutely terrible It would be made better if the traffic actually moved over. Like, if this traffic used both lanes, the merging would work so much better. But it is really awful. And it's the kind of thing that does affect your driving every time you play the game. It really needs to be addressed. Last week's Sunday Night Trucking, there was, on Twitch that is, there was a whole bunch of incidents that happened. Just driving around, and I would see the AI vehicle just drive into each other constantly. I mean, I know it happens in real life, but if it happened on purpose, if the AI did it on purpose, I would perhaps accept it. But it's not. It's happening because the AI is just breaking down. I don't know if they're going to change that either. We shall see. I'm still happy with the game, like I really am. I mean, I know I criticise it, and some people might take that as, oh, you're just being negative, blah, blah. I actually like the game. I can really enjoy the game. But equally, it's no such thing as a perfect game. There's always things that need fixing. Always. But some things affect you more than others. And the AI is definitely one of them, and it's been going on for a few years now. I know AI is difficult. I get that, but I think SCS has got the money to pay for one or two specialists to come in and actually make that work properly. I've seen AI pathing in other games, and it's dreadful as well. So I know it's difficult. If you look at GTA AI, with Rockstar's endless pockets, it gives you an idea of what it could be, of what things could be like. But even games like Mafia 2, when I played that, the AI vehicles that were going around did a pretty good job, like of going through junctions and flowing traffic and changing lanes and stuff. That wasn't a huge team that built that. Probably, I don't know, maybe had the same budget as SCS would have, I don't know. I think it's just about getting the right guys. That's the problem. AI programming is a bit of a speciality. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Oh man, there's so much weight behind us. Yeah, I'm in like 1200 RPM right now, and this thing is struggling to haul. Oh, there we go. Might just put the wind up a little bit, so it's not quite so loud. That's better. Was getting a little bit loud though. Kingman, interesting. I don't remember Kingman on the map, to be fair. Is that a new city? I don't remember this. Kingman. I hope that guy's exiting and not just gonna move over on me, because that would be annoying. Let's put the cruise control on, stick it on 60. Let it roll. How far? 295 miles. What time is it now? Okay, I reckon we'll be there like 5-6 PM, something like that. Speed limit has gone up. I guess we're out of California. They have some pretty tight speed limits in California, don't they? I've noticed. Let's put the cruise control on 70. See if we can get away with 70 down here. We've got the fuel. We've got some nice daylights. I tell you what, DirectX 11, I don't know what you're finding, but DirectX 11 is a lot smoother now. You can actually feel the fact that it's using your graphics card more, like the frame rates are so much nicer. The anti-aliasing in the distance, like it never used to be that good. That is a lot better than it ever used to be. What's interesting is, just as SCS go to DirectX 11, a lot of game developers are moving to Vulkan. It feels like SCS has just hit one target and then somebody's moved the goalpost. X-Plane just moved over to Vulkan. Uh-oh. Oh, look at this. Merging traffic. See, that car could just move over, but it doesn't. Why? I don't know. X-Plane just moved over to Vulkan, and that's made a substantial difference to their frame rates. Substantial. Having said that, X-Plane came from like an OpenGL background, so moving to Vulkan is, you know, completely night and day. Completely. I don't think it would be quite so big if SCS went from DirectX 11 to Vulkan. I play another game, Rainbow Six Siege. That's been on DirectX 11 or 12, I don't know which. And they've recently brought out a Vulkan. You can literally choose, when you fire the game up, you can choose DirectX or Vulkan now. And they both play equally well, but I don't think you can notice a massive difference between the two. Like if you're playing a game at 120 FPS, and they both play at 120 FPS, what's the benefit? I remember watching a video from Austin Mayer, the guy who wrote X-Plane, and he did a video on the difference between OpenGL and Vulkan, what it means for them in X-Plane. It's quite an interesting video. I mean, he's a bit of a wacky guy, but I guess it takes a wacky guy to develop a flight simulator, right? But he talked about how, you know, in OpenGL, like they basically make requests to OpenGL and say, can you draw this? Can you load this? Can you do this, that, the other? And OpenGL sometimes just goes off on one. It just steals like a bunch of frames and doesn't come back. And then it creates these horrible lags, these horrible frame stutters that you get in X-Plane. Whereas when they go to Vulkan, it's weird because with Vulkan they get more control, but equally they have more work to do. It means they have to set up everything beforehand. They have to set up the texture loading and you know what to draw. But the net result is that when they say draw a frame, it just does it. It just does it instantly. And that's why Vulkan's so much smoother, because the devs have to put more effort in, but equally, because they're developing the game, they know what's coming next. Like if you're facing east, if you're flying east in your plane, they can start to preload textures and things that are coming from the east and ignore everything from the west. They don't have to rely on a library to try and work that out. They have to program it themselves, but the net effect is that everything's ready when it needs to be, and I think that's the main difference in Vulkan. Whether more people start developing on that API, who knows? But from all the information I've seen on X-Plane, what's this guy doing? It's you know, from OpenGL it is massive improvements in frame rates, especially smoothness. And if you've come from an AMD graphics card, because the AMD OpenGL drivers were so bad, your frame rate jumps are massive. You're saving sometimes double the frames you now get in, like massive changes. Not so much with NVIDIA, but still like 30% improvement. However, X-Plane's coming out just as, yep, Microsoft Flight Sim is on the horizon, P3DV5 has just come out. What is the future of Flight Sim, That's a topic to itself. Perhaps I'll save that for another video. I'm still waiting to get my brand new PC, so I still don't have Flight Simulator installed. I can't believe how long this has taken. This whole virus situation has broken supply chains so much that I just can't get the bits I need to fix my PC anymore. Because, admittedly, they're pretty high-end parts in there, and with the water cooling and stuff, they're quite specialist parts, but it's so frustrating. My machine, my PC, desperately needs a reinstall of Windows. I've had Windows 10 running for 2 years, and honestly, Personally, I think every 18 months you should just wipe your Windows OS and just rebuild it. And so mine's overdue. Mine's definitely overdue. But sometimes in certain games I'll get like frame rate micro stutters, which is exceedingly annoying. This guy's merging. Oh, dear me. See, the way I would code that is have all the traffic that's on the highway just carry on about their business and not slow down and wait for the guy joining, because that's how you get pileups. The guy who's joining just has to be patient. But I would also add to it, make them change lane. Like if they're driving along in this lane and something is on the junction waiting to come in, just move over. Move over, create the gap. Just, you know, I know I'm simplifying the problem, but at a high level, that's what, if you just implemented that, you know, make the truck wait and then make the cars move over. If you just implemented that, you wouldn't get these weird jams that you see as you're driving along. And funny enough, the AI drives into the back of the other AI when that happens. I've seen it many times. East Albuquerque. Speed limit increase again. Just knock up the cruise control to 70. So what I've done on my wheel, I have a new setup which I will show you in a video when I get my new PC. I have it's a BMW GT2 Fanatec rim is what it is, so it's basically a racing rim, but it has this little control on it. It's like a stick, like a thumbstick off an Xbox, I guess. But here we go again. Okay, that looks pretty nasty. But it's an interesting control on the wheel actually, because it has 4 degrees of direction, up, down, left and right. It spins and clicks in both directions, anti-clockwise and clockwise, and you can press it in. Now that is a versatile control. So on that one control on my wheel, if I press it in, I get cruise control, right? Press it in to get cruise control there. If I turn it anti-clockwise, it goes down or up clockwise in units of 5 miles an hour. So I can control it, the speed. And if I press forward, back, left or right, I get 4 different viewpoints. So just off one control on my wheel, I can control the camera and the cruise control. And there's another thumbstick on the left that is a bit like a joypad, in that I can do that with it. Or if I go external, I can do that with it. Up and down. So just with my thumbs, I can control quite a few things. Really, really handy. And it does make me wonder why they don't put controls like that on, you know, the Thrustmasters and the Logitechs. Because they're incredibly useful. Or maybe that will put the price up, because it is quite a nice control. Fanatec rims are not cheap. I mean, I think this rim is like 200, maybe more. Euros stroke pounds, can't remember. They're not cheap, and then you have to mount them on a Fanatec wheelbase, which is not cheap either. So admittedly you get what you pay for, but the idea of those kind of controls, they should find their way onto the Thrustmaster wheels, I think. 93 miles, estimated 1839. So yeah, when we get there, I think the sun will be setting. So it's good we had that early start. Means we can do the whole thing in daylight. Check that we're within the speed limit, and we are. That's some fast concrete right there. It'd be great if they flashed you when you get past to let you in. That would be awesome. Still see trucks doing that, not quite so much as they used to, but they still do it. America's finest. No magic, just science. Love these billboards. Holbrook, there we go. Slow lane 1 mile. Wait a sec. Just change the zoom on that map. Okay, we're not getting off here. So we'll keep the speed up. I just wonder if we were getting off at that exit, but it appears not. Cars are driving quite slowly. I'm on the truck speed limit, and I would have expected them to be going a bit faster than what we're going. Is that a broken down car? Oh, pickup's been pulled over. Naughty, naughty. I'll have a quick look when I do this job. I'll have a quick look at the bank balance situation. I can see that it's gone down. Obviously the bank fee came out. I think we're paying about 5,700 a day at the moment, and it just netted, well, when we get this back we'll net about 14 grand. But we have a few drivers as well driving for us, so hopefully they will bring in some money as well, and we'll be up on the day. Just wondering when we have to sleep next though. We're gonna inevitably have to do some nighttime drives, I think. But I like to try and keep driving during the day, just because A, it's more interesting, and B, if I'm driving through all this scenery that I've paid for, I'd like to see it, thanks. I think that's a fair assumption, right? If you travel at night, although it's nice in one aspect, you really don't see any of this nice scenery. I really don't like these junctions. The reason is I don't like these fences here block your visibility. I know they're there to stop people jumping off them, but they really do block your visibility when you're looking left or. Well, so far so good. I mean, this has been a fairly clean run. There's a right turn. Wow, that was completely obscured by all the bushes. Got the brand new combine harvester. Wow, look at the force feedback going crazy on the wheel right now. Oh, this looks like a sharp bend. That's fine, it opens up into quite a wide road. Makes you wonder why they don't tarmac the narrow bit though. They've got this nice wide road here, and then a horrible narrow bit back onto the main highway. It's like a big farm. I can actually see cars over there. There's another road access that way as well, so we could have actually potentially come in a different way, I don't know. Looking at the road layout, it looks like you can get back onto the highway from here, but you couldn't get off it. I like this. This man points in the way. I think I need to put the sat-nav volume up. I can hardly hear it. I like that. What does that say? Cascadian Farm or something? Okay, so they want it reversing into that spot there, that's fine. Okay. Let's get this thing straightened up. Got this mound of grass which is slightly annoying, but to keep it steady. Okay, brakes are on. Engine's off. Try to disconnect. Successful delivery, I'd say. Excelente. Oh, that's a nice chunk of XP right there. Look at that. Now, it wasn't 14,000. I got that wrong. I don't know where I got 14 from. I think my head swapped their numbers around. That's 41,000. So we've got 30 grand as a base reward, 4 grand for proficiency. Then we got our long distance and heavy high value cargo. This is where our extra skill points really start to pay off there. Look at that. But yeah, that's a nice chunk of cash, that is. So if we have a look at the bank situation, left to repay is 274,000, but given we just earned 40 grand in a day, that payment doesn't seem so big anymore, does it? So now we've got 166 in our bank. Let's have a look at the drivers, see what they're doing. So that's us. Valentino. Hey, I'm Valentino. He's earning 3 grand a day on average, which, you know, frankly, we just put him to shame, didn't we? John M. Looks like a happy guy. He's earning nearly 3 as well. And then Maximilian T. He's on 2,000. Only sporting fragile cargo. Okay, so they've all got 3 points in long distance, which is good. He's in bed. He's driving. He's resting. Okay. We're done. Guys, let me know your thoughts on Trucking Diaries. Whether you're looking forward to more, happy it's back. Couldn't care less, let me know. Well, if you're still watching this video right now, I suspect you do like this series. So I'm probably asking the wrong people right now. I should have asked that question at the beginning. Well, the lights have just come on. Anyway, that, as I say, is that. And, yeah, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. To the next one. Take care. Happy trucking.